of 4, and my mom and dad, I grew up in the typical Gen X fun household where we were a dysfunctional, loving family, and my parents were hippies. So my parents, they got married at a young age. My dad went off to war with Vietnam, so it was a whole different time back then. And it was a wonderful childhood. I will say that that my parents were the ones that first introduced me to my love of music. My dad was a rock and roller, my mom was into soul, however, at the age of 18, by then my parents ended up divorcing. So it was a wonderful, loving childhood, a little bit of ups and downs like everybody, but unfortunately by 18 they did end up divorcing, and as a result I ended up moving out and going on my own and going off to college, which was a commuter school, Cal State East Bay, because didn't have really any funds to go to college, and I had to get my way through college, and I worked 2 jobs. You'll see a picture of me with that car. That's actually my first car, so this is listening. But that's my Denny's outfit. So I was a Denny's waitress in the evenings. I went to school during the day, and at Denny's I learned, my mom was also a waitress there, I learned all about customer service. I learned how to work under pressure, and then I worked on the weekends at FedEx. I was a cargo handler, and Federal Express was a Fortune 500 company. They offered amazing full-time benefits for my part-time work. They offered tuition reimbursement. They had a pension. They had profit sharing. They had, it was a great company, and their level of customer service was very high standards. So I learned a lot about customer service. And then there's me graduating. That's me and my girlfriends when I was graduating. So I did get my degree in my Bachelor of Science in Business Economics, and then I minored. Back then you had minors. I minored in marketing. Perfect, right? So I worked for Federal Express, and when I graduated, I tried to get a job in sales, and I thought I was going to follow the corporate ladder in sales through that company that I had believed in and worked in for years. However, I didn't get the job. They flew me out to San Diego. I didn't get the job. So I came back and I ended up taking a position in Hawaii. And I lived in Hawaii for a year in their customer service department. And that wasn't too shabby. Oh, one other thing, you could fly for free as a jump seat. So I would fly home once a month. A big, huge plane, had all the space I wanted with the cargo. And it was fun. And anyway, so I took that job. And I did get homesick after a while. It was fun. I did have friends out there. And then my grandmother was on her deathbed, and I was very close to my grandmother. So I had to come home and be with her and my mother, and she needed my support. And at the time I was in a 1-year contract, and I was 11 months in. Well, my boss was an a-hole, and he did not let me out of my contract, wherever you are, I won't mention his name now. So I quit, and I thought, I'll just get rehired again later. Well, that didn't end up happening, but that kind of gave me the belief that corporations are not flexible. So I moved on. When I got back, I got into real estate. There's a picture of me at the title company, sales rep. We're laughing because it says pager. There's my pager number. I had the oh God, what's her name? Friends. I had the Friends haircut.
Oh, Rachel?
Yeah, Rachel. And then so what I did was I worked in sales. I ended up becoming a sales manager. It was high pressure, loved it, was good at it. And then as a manager, I hired a friend's family member. And that family member didn't end up cutting the mustard, but what ended up happening is she ended up getting me fired. So that was very unexpected, but it happens, and it happened to me. And what I did was I decided to get my real estate license, because that's where the big bucks were, right? And I saw a lot of people making a lot of money, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. So I got licensed fairly quickly. I did everything they told me to do. I was coachable. I listened to everything the coaches told me, and they said, if you do what I say in 6 months, you will sell your first house. So I said, okay. I did everything they said, and in 6 months, guess what? Sold my first house. And then commenced to sell 10 houses total that year. and then commenced to have a very successful real estate career year after year. And it was, you know, real estate has its ups and downs, but I really enjoyed it, and it was very profitable. I ended up buying a condo, and then I ended up meeting my husband. He already had a son, so I became a stepmother when we got married. And there's my stepson, James, my husband, and then we had a son together. He was about 1 or 2 there. And so along the way, we bought our new house together. Then we bought another house. We bought rental property. We bought land. We were living the American dream. And something always goes wrong, right? So then I found Brentwood, and this community was something, to me, like the perfect place to raise a family. So I fell in love with it. I called my husband. I said, "We're moving to Brentwood. I just found this brand new house. You're gonna love it." And he's like, "I'm not moving to Brentwood. Where's Brentwood?" I said, "You'll love it, and if you don't like it, we'll just sell the house later." So luckily I have a very wonderful husband that kind of follows my lead at times. And so we ended up applying for the house. It took a while for it to be built, and meanwhile, prices kept going up and up and up. By the time we got this house, it was overpriced. But I was emotionally attached, so I ended up still buying it. And however, the good news was that the builder offered me a job, and there was 100 more homes to be sold in my neighborhood. So I said, "Yay, jackpot!" I took the job. I started selling the homes. My husband was in real estate doing loans. We were it was just having a good old time. Money was just coming in, and we were spending it. And then the market tanked, which we knew was coming, right? Everybody in real estate knew that was coming, probably for a year or two. But you just didn't really believe how hard it was going to hit when it hit. So when it hit, we were both in it together. Both of us we went from hero to zero fast. We lost a lot, but we were able to hold on to our house and our land. However, barely. We were barely. And at that time, that is when I fell in love with the LinkedIn magazine. So I used to use the magazine when I sold real estate. This is a great community, and I loved it. I read it cover to cover. So I found out it was for sale. I looked into it, and I did my due diligence. I already had a sales background. I had a business background. I thought, you know what, honey, we're going to buy this magazine. And here's my wonderful husband coming along for the ride. We actually tried to work together, but did not work. And I ended up meeting Don Huntington, of course, who was the founder. So he stayed on board. I built a team. Caroline was my sales rep, and we just hit the ground running. And within 6 months, this magazine had failed during the depressed real estate market. Within 6 months, we were profitable, and we have had a wonderful, wonderful run. And it has been such a blessing because we were able to tell stories. We were able to get to know the community. I was able to do a lot of volunteer work. I've been in Rotary. I became kind of overboard volunteer nonprofit enthusiast. So I told a lot of stories about nonprofits. I got to know, I was on the Economic Opportunity Council for years. I was in Rotary for years, Chamber, thanks Dan, Chamber for years, and really involved with the community. Even would come to DNP once in a while. Caroline was one of the founding members, and that's my team right there. So 15 years, we did have our struggles. So Caroline, unfortunately, we launched the second magazine in Walnut Creek. However, Caroline's husband became mentally ill and unfortunately died by suicide. So it was very tragic and difficult. We, Michelle Guerra, our designer, who love and adore, fighting cancer for the 4th time, all 3 years. And we're a family, so we help each other. We're going to make sure that that everybody gets a paycheck in worst of times, regardless. And we were a lot of working moms, and we kind of did this thing together. So I'm going to stay on time. So then at the time, okay, so then downside of it was that, sorry. Okay, so I skipped ahead. Don't look at that yet. So the downside of it, I think I switched my things around. So the downside was that it was a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. We had our struggles, and then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, that kind of put the brakes on a lot of everything. And I was already kind of doing a lot and giving a lot to the community and putting relationships first and putting things first. So the magazine suffered, and I did. I'll say my health did. So that's what this is about. So at one time, I was so into my deadline, and I had I'll tell you a little, it gets a little graphic, but I had a polyp in my uterus, and it was wreaking havoc. I was hemorrhaging. By the time I figured out that this was really a problem because I was at my deadline, I was so busy, I woke up and there was no, I looked like a ghost. I could barely breathe, and my husband had to rush me to emergency. He was little then, didn't remember anything. We got to emergency, and I thought it was strange that they rushed me right in. Like, usually you gotta wait in the emergency room. And by the time they put me in the back, they told me that my hemoglobin was down to a 5, and I was lucky that I hadn't gone into cardiac arrest. I was lucky to be alive, and I had to have a blood transfusion, and then I had emergency surgery that night, and then I was all better. Well, actually, I was very highly anemic after that. So, but when I was there in the emergency, I told my husband, go get my iPad. I'm at a deadline. And they're literally pumping the blood into my veins, but I'm working because I had to work, and my husband had to teach me that. So anyway, I was fine though, so it was absolutely fine. But if that's what I kind of Googled that was that it was very dire, it was a close call, and those are wake-up calls, and I started doing research about health, about anemia, I started learning on my own. So when COVID hits, this is me at the gala, and a week later that COVID hit. So by this time, I had been concerned with my family's health, of course, because of COVID. I was already overweight and tired because I was putting my business and everything else first. I was stressed out. I wasn't having as much fun as I was in the beginning of one day, I'll tell you. And then I had a lot of responsibility, moving parts, no volunteer boundaries. I had lost my desire and my passion. And my relationships were more important than my business, and I didn't want to change that. And I actually did change that. Okay, so enter LifeVantage. So then there was a glimmer of hope while COVID was going on. In fact, I had decided to put, my husband and son were already on the product, and my husband was having some great results, and he already believed in the product. I wasn't really 100% sold. I was very much a skeptic, and I already had my son on the product, and he was starting to see some good results. But I hadn't really put it to the test. So after COVID hit, and then I felt like crap, and I had gained all this weight. In fact, I gained 10 more pounds from that month. On a person my size, that's like 20. So I decided to go on this weight loss journey, and I lost 18 pounds. I used their products, and I lost 18 pounds very quickly. And I attributed it to working out, eating right, and then that was a catalyst as well. And people saw me, and they said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, even Michelle saw me, like that, fat burn. I was just telling everybody about fat burn. So I started to share then, and started to take it more seriously. And so as all that's unfolding, I thought to myself, but that's network marketing. I'm too good for network marketing. Are you kidding me? Those people drive me crazy. And that was my belief system at the time. However, I also knew that I didn't want to be in the corporate world. I already had my own business, and I had done network marketing before. I had done Mary Kay, and I had learned a lot, and I had had fun at that. So I thought, while all of this was going on during COVID, why not give this a shot? And then once my belief was bulletproof, and that was obviously right around COVID 3 years ago, that's when I really started taking it seriously, really started learning, and I started applying everything I've learned in the past to what was important, and that is to really be a consultant to people, and that's why the magazine was successful. I didn't just say, oh, buy a ton of ads in the magazine. I said, I got to the bottom line of what your needs were, what your goals were, and then I gave solutions that weren't just about me, and that's what I do now. So that is a part of this whole Be Well Guru, is bringing solutions, partnering with other people, and sharing what I believe in. So I will leave it on that note, and thank you all very much. Do you have any questions?
What's your favorite product?
I could bathe in collagen, and I could drink it all day, except it is pricey, but that's because it's such high quality. And it's fish peptides that, it's in an amber bottle, it's liquid, it's in glass amber bottle, there's all these things that make it worth its weight in gold. But that is, and then I will just say that most health stems from gut and inflammation issues. And we just need to tweak that. One thing I didn't say was that, because I ran out of time, the American dream, we can create lots of stress, right? We're all full of stress. The American diet can create lots of gut and health issues. The American health system is flawed. So we need to follow our energy, listen to our bodies, right? Which I didn't do, mistake, almost detrimental mistake. We need to move our bodies. Who's watching the Blue Zones? Good stuff, right? We need community. That's what we have here. That helps with the stress, right? That helps when we're in dire needs to be a support for each other. I believe in a mind, body, spirit approach, and prioritizing yourself, having fun, follow science, trust in Mother Nature, and let's keep having fun together, people. So hopefully you can come out on Friday. We have some more fun. But that's what that's why I bring the music, because that's another thing that's so important. It's like you just have to have fun, do what fuels your soul, and those are the things that fuel my soul. So anyway, we still have time. I mean, at least we're not out of time. So I was trying not to get away from my notes, but then me, I'm a talker and a storyteller. So anyway, anybody have any other questions?
What's new on the horizon for Left Hand?
So we do have some new products coming out. I just won a trip to San Antonio. So this is the second trip I won. I went to Mexico, San Antonio, and so what I love about that is I get to learn more. I usually go to the health professionals and hang out with the doctors, even though I'm not one. And but they do have a beauty serum coming, and a couple other beauty products, and they're always coming up with new Axio flavors. Oh, speaking of which, if anybody would like to try the Axio, which is a healthy energy drink, I will come on up and I'll give you a sample. There's different flavors. So we've got a couple new flavors, and yeah, it's
Can I just say, you look younger.
right. That's new.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. You know what? I thought
Like I did. I thought it was a picture of her when she was young. You look way younger.
So, thank you. When you feel good and you give yourself permission to do the things you love, and then you get to do that with what you do for a living, which a lot of you do. So we are very blessed in this.
You're lovely.
Thank you. And yeah, it makes a ton of difference. So that's what I want to help others, because we go through different seasons of life. There's seasons, baby season. Sorry, we're not gonna, we're gonna feel like crap. We're not gonna. We need lots of accent. I mean, there's just seasons. My son is a grown adult now. Like woohoo! Now I get to, Mama gets to do what she wants, and she does. Ask my husband. I want you to also. No. So that's why, and once a month I do want to have an event where we can go hang out, learn some stuff, meet somebody new that's doing some great things in the wellness community. And it's not about me. It's about, or even it's a whole lifestyle, but it's about little things that you can do and just taking baby steps towards our health. Because the American dream is stressful and it will kill. And I am here to not let that happen. Right?